All right, welcome to The Blueprint. I am so excited today to have our guest Jason from Shumaker with us, and we are going to be talking about collaborating your way to growth. So before we get started, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to the audience, share a little bit about what you do, and why you're passionate about it.
Sure. So I'm Jason. I'm Jason Konpinski. I'm the Marketing and Business Engagement Manager for Shumaker PDT. We're a live event production company based here in Lancaster. And we do events of all sizes. So we're talking social, weddings, private parties, larger corporate events, community events, it kind of runs the gamut. I stepped into this industry 3.5 years ago knowing absolutely nothing about it. Yeah, absolutely nothing.
That's kind of fun though. It's neat to learn a new industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. It's it's an exciting world to be in.
Yeah.
I recognize I'm surrounded by a team that knows way more about this stuff than I do. And I remind myself all the time, I said, Jason, you're good at selling. You're good at building relationships.
Correct.
You're good at doing that collaboration piece.
Yep.
Let the professionals who actually know how to design and light and orchestrate and manage all the let them do their thing, know what you're good at.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the same with Emma. She does all the things with the mics and I just sit here and talk.
Yeah.
Do the thing.
And we do that well.
We do that well. We do that well. All right. So we're going to talk about choosing community over competition a little bit more. We talked about that in our last episode as well. We're now going to take that and talking about how do we build partnerships from that. So kind of just walk me through, you're at a networking event, you meet a new business. How do you take that from that casual conversation to actually building a partnership with that professional?
I want to know who they are. And it's been my philosophy around networking,
yes.
And for lack of a better term, relationshiping.
Yeah,
is really taking the time to understand who somebody is. I don't want to know what you do. I don't even want to know what industry you're in.
Yeah,
I want to know who you are as an individual.
Yeah,
because I'm a big believer in social serendipity. It's like we meet somewhere, we have a conversation, and based on who I know, who you know, at some point, I'm going to need what K-marketing does.
Right.
Or I know somebody who needs what
right.
K-marketing does. And vice versa, what you may know somebody who needs Shumaker PDT services in some capacity. And so it's like, oh, wait, you're doing that thing? I have a guy.
I have a guy. Yeah. I love that. I love too when I had Alex last week was just talking about you have to learn to know, like, and trust the person.
Yeah.
And then the business part kind of just naturally follows when the opportunity presents itself. From your experience, what role does networking play in turning community into real growth opportunities?
It's everything. It's everything for me.
Yeah.
It's everything for us. So I could say with confidence that if you've been to an event in Lancaster County in the past 20 years, you've experienced Shumaker PDT work, whether you know it or not. And so it always shifts the conversation really quickly when people truly understand, oh, that's what you mean when you do event.
Right.
Being a part of Lancaster Chamber's annual dinner, being part of Celebrate Lancaster, being part of a gala at F&M or a community festival, any number of amazing organizations that exist here in the county that require financial support, and that they're tapped into those communities, they're tapped into those organizations, and they say, oh, this is what makes this work possible.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Okay, so how can business owners and professionals approach networking with collaboration in mind instead of competition?
It's a big sandbox.
Yeah.
It's a big sandbox.
It is a big sandbox.
And I get why businesses feeling different pressures, right? Wherever they're the state of their individual business, the health of the industry that they're in, larger economic factors, there's a tendency to move towards being really protective.
Yeah.
And there are however many, to say conservatively, 30,000 businesses that exist in Lancaster County.
Yeah. Last week, Alex said how many it was, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
How many small businesses that are under 50 employees, I think he said, which was crazy.
Yeah.
And I think that in that same piece, the competition, I think that there's great business out there for everybody. And you don't know when you're going to be in a situation that you might need to collaborate with that person, or you might need to share resources with that person. I don't know. I just feel like when you're standing behind your product or your service, you shouldn't worry about what the competition is doing. You should just...
I hate the V word.
What's the V word?
I hate being called a vendor.
Oh, that's the... Oh.
Right? Like, I hate the V word. Like, deep in my soul, I hate that V word. Because it runs very much away the way we, as Shumaker, we do business. We understand that for events to be really, truly impactful, transformative, impactful, all the things, it relies on a collaborative relationship. And that I want to be a partner to any organization that we do work with.
Yeah.
And understandably, there are cases where it is very transactional in nature. Those don't feel quite as good. They don't feel as profound. They don't feel as impactful. They're kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
Right? And we've been really lucky.
And they become price driven.
Yeah.
Versus quality relationship, partnership driven.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, like that's the struggle that I always have. Right. When I'm pitching new business, or even just in those early conversations with a potential prospect, a potential client somewhere down the stream, or even just to kind of understand who they are, how they fit into this local ecosystem.
Right.
What is it, the work that they do, and I'm less concerned about adding them to my hit list and to land them as work, and more, how can I help them navigate what they actually need?
Right. You're right.
And knowing that it's this is a long tail discussion, right? Like, I'm not going to have a conversation with anybody today with the expectation that contract is going to be signed next week.
Right. Like, that's an unrealistic...
It could happen. It could happen.
It could happen.
But the likelihood of that happening is
especially for what you do. It is building the relationship. It's building the rapport, and I think it's some too education on the scale ability of what you do. You know, and you go from all the way from a wedding up.
Yeah.
And sometimes people kind of, I think unintentionally, right, like shoehorn you into one piece. You know, we had
the challenge we have sometimes.
Yes,
here.
we have challenges here too. Like when people are like, "You do video production," and I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that," and I'm like, "Yeah, we do that." You know, and kind of seeing the range of what you do. You know.
Yeah, and you know, in the same way, like mentioned earlier about, like, it's a big sandbox, right? And there's plenty of opportunity for all of us to really thrive in this county. That is especially true inside of my industry, because no single production company, whether they're here in Lancaster County, in the state, regionally, nationally, or whatever, has all the things to do for all of the people, right? And so we have a warehouse of a specific square footage. I can't house everything. Right. And there's going to be cases where, because inventory moves like it does, if I have a need for a specific piece of equipment to satisfactorily execute that job, and I don't have it on my shelf, I know who you can call. Yeah. And so I really, competition's just an ugly word.
I feel that.
It's a really ugly word.
It is and I think that I don't know. I feel like you're off the focus of what it is all. I don't know how to word that, but
let me say this. I would say like competition in a specific context is good.
Yes.
Is good, because that ultimately challenges us to innovate, rethink what our products or our services look like, kind of rethink our business models, and be able to adapt based on market pressures, competition inside of the space, and to really think about, like, what differentiates our work from the guy up the street. Right. And that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
That is a good thing. Where I draw the line personally is when it becomes antagonistic. And we probably all had encounters like that.
Yeah.
And, we both sit in the professional services category. Right. Like you're not. We're not selling widgets.
Right. We're not. Right.
Right. And
Correct.
so and when a client signs on with one of us,
Right.
they're not just calling on us to do the thing.
Right. It's not a transactional
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah. They're not just calling us to do the thing.
Right.
They are hiring us for our experience. They're hiring us for our insights, for our holistic understanding of marketplace, of what it means to be successful in their specific category.
Right.
And the ones that we keep and that we sustain year after year are the ones that understand that implicitly.
Right.
And they trust our experience.
Yeah.
That's not to say that there can't be a difficult conversation, but the questions are always raised from curiosity. They're not come from judgment.
Right.
It's, I don't trust you and I'm looking for you to fall. It's, I'm asking questions because I want to understand how you got there.
Yeah, we were just at it made me think of it. We were just at the High Center this morning, and they had a training on creating healthy organizations. And I feel like in this scenario, it was very interesting how they were talking about, is the goal to tear somebody else down, or is the goal to work, united to create greater good in the community, to create a better experience here in Lancaster County? And I don't know. I look at that in this same thing. And when you're saying, is it destructive, or even from as simple as like just turning and being like, I don't even want to get to know that person because they're essentially a competitor.
You get a vibe.
Like, I don't like that.
Yeah, you get a vibe.
So what makes a partnership successful beyond just exchanging of a referral?
I think there's plenty of opportunities for all of us to be connected and engaged. We're both very active in local chambers, and we don't necessarily treat those partnerships as I'm just mining referrals.
Absolutely.
Right?
Right.
And that we understand.
And you can sniff out the people that are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real fast.
Yeah. You walk into a mixer and you know who's there with an agenda. And that's not to say that we don't do that. Right?
Of course.
Like,
you are working.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're going through and you may take a look at the attendee list in advance, and it's an opportunity to follow up somebody specifically, to get in the same room, just to be strategic about being in conversation with them, because that is a relationship you're attempting to cultivate.
Right.
And I have been at mixers where I have had hour-long conversations with 3 people.
Yeah.
And if I'm going back and trying to measure it against the KPI and go, oh, I spent 2 hours at this networking event and I got X amount of business cards, which led to X amount of email follow-ups or booked meetings or anything else. It's important.
Yeah.
It's not everything.
Yeah.
It's a part of it, certainly. But what has been successful for us and been successful for me personally is when I can see how people connect and I can see how the relationship web builds and draw those intersectionalities.
Right.
Right? Because that is what, it's not just, oh, I need you to introduce me to somebody. It's, I have somebody you should probably talk to.
Right. And it really is, when you come to it from that perspective, that is the KPI, in my opinion, it is coming in and knowing that you're establishing those solid relationships. And from that, when they're talking to somebody else, they're able to then refer that person to you if it makes sense, because you've established a relationship. You didn't come in for a sale. And I think that goes a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. And because the nature of our business is not, or our mutual businesses are not transactional by definition.
Right.
Right. What is going to keep us in the public eye or in a prospect's eye is understanding that we truly understand the challenges that they face.
Yeah.
And that we are proactive about asking those challenging, difficult, probing questions that get them to think about, oh, well, maybe I have to rethink this.
Yeah.
I say this often. In a perfect world, I love events year one. I love to be on the, I love to capture them on that year one.
Yeah.
When they're going, hey, we're going to do this thing and we don't know where to start. It's okay. Well, let's have a conversation about that. In part because, and this is from somewhat of a selfish perspective, is if we get year 2 and somebody else executed on year 1, there's often a little training that needs to happen. And it's really interesting to see organizations that have done events.
Yes.
Whether that is for a client appreciation event, whether that is for a fundraiser, some employee milestone, a company milestone, whatever the case may be. And they often have, well, what we thought was going to happen didn't happen. And they don't know how to connect the dots. And they don't know how to get there. And when we sit down with them, there's often this little, like, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
They often have this look of deer in headlights because they realize that they haven't been asked the questions that would have led to a really impactful event for them.
Right.
And that would have met all of the objectives. You know, let's consider a nonprofit that has an annual fundraising gala, and they're not meeting their numbers because audio went sideways, video feeds broke, sightlines weren't considered.
So that impactful video that was supposed to...
That nobody saw.
Exactly.
Yeah. That nobody saw, or
they couldn't hear, or it took 15 minutes for it to get fixed.
Or logistically, there wasn't an eye on, here's the way that we're organizing the room based on where the stage is. Oh, these 3 tables on
Won't
the wings,
see anything.
They don't have a line of sight.
Yeah.
So
and
they
then
can't
you lost
even,
them.
Yeah, they're sitting behind a column. They're kind of feeling disconnected from anything. And, you know, we can all probably tell stories of when technology goes hooey and how uncomfortable that is.
Yes.
Because I have to, you know, it's a conversation I have with my team often is, hey, we can't play those moments back. Like those big reveal moments, those big moments of celebration, they can't be rolled back.
Right.
You don't get a mulligan, you know? And so it's like, okay, so that brings our team to executing at the highest level always. And we have really, really high standards for doing that because we recognize the impact of the work that we do.
Yeah. And those details, right? Like that's a detail in partnering locally, understanding the venues, understanding, like you said, the sight lines, right? Like those details matter. And if you're just saying, I want this, this, and this for this price, you're missing why are you doing the event? What's the purpose of the event?
Right.
What do you want to get out of this event? And aligning that. I know you don't do a lot with like the timing of events, but that was another thing that I thought of was when the program doesn't go according to schedule. Or something drags on way too long and or registration doesn't go, or they didn't consider parking, or they didn't, you know.
Right. Well, and so
did you hear about that at the Nook the other day?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I will celebrate my team.
Yes.
We have our production team in particular comes from a theater background. A lot of our technicians, a lot of our operations team come from a theater background. And so nothing is left to chance. We do what's called paper techs.
Okay.
Where it's literally sitting down with a client in a rehearsal and going, what needs to happen here? Is there a music walk on? Is there a transition in lighting? Is there any of those things that need to happen in these very key specific moments? Because in some, an event is an experience. And that's very much where the industry is moving towards. It's, you know, we go to business dinners, we go to networking events, we go to fundraising galas, all the things, and at some point, if you've been to a business dinner, you've been to a mall. Right. Like they follow a script.
Yep.
There's a certain recognizable framework that they operate in.
Right. Yep.
Opening remarks. Maybe there's an award.
Thank the sponsors.
Thanking the sponsor. Sponsorship recognition in the middle. It's a fundraising event. There's typically a live appeal.
Right.
There's there's an impact video that gets stitched into that to say, hey, here's all the amazing things that we're doing. Here's where your financial support goes and makes this work possible. And then there's a live appeal and, you know, big celebratory in the moment. And so it fits inside a specific container.
Correct.
But all of those are very carefully orchestrated. And to think, you know, we've had we've had clients that have like to kind of shoot from the hip a little bit. It makes it challenging.
Yeah.
It makes it challenging because it interferes with the very conscious effort to create that event,
That
beginning to
experience.
end,
Right.
beginning to end. And I'll speak to the Lancaster Chamber, right? So Lancaster Chamber's annual dinner is recognized amongst chambers as the pinnacle for what an annual dinner can look like.
Yep.
And I don't say that. I don't say that.
I mean, it is a known event by everybody in the business community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like Lancaster's business prom, right? Like everybody comes out, like people come out dressed to the nines. They celebrate all of those things. There is networking, but they come away with something to chew on and process through when they leave the event.
Right.
And that team works really, really diligently to create a full experience from the minute that you walk in the door. Even before the program starts, it is themed very carefully. It's really thinking about guest experience so that, I mean, the short of it is the price is
reflective
of it, right? And so, if you go to
but it meets the expectation.
Right.
Right.
So you go to any chamber dinner and you can recognize the formula. And what Lancaster Chamber does very uniquely is that they create experience outside of that formula. We know that there is going to be certain awards that are recognized. We recognize that there is going to a speaker that has something that the business community in Lancaster is salivating for, is really looking for answers.
Yeah.
Whether that is an answer about something that they can take home and implement tomorrow, or that is a way that it starts to shift their thinking about the way that they approach their business from a operational standpoint, even from a why do we do the things that we do,
right?
Into larger like cultural, industry, economic kind of applications, right? That experience, again, it's not left to chance,
right?
And it is
all orchestrated.
It is orchestrated,
right? And if you wanted
yet
to
feels
have
very organic,
correct,
right?
But that is the sign of doing it well.
Yeah,
is that it's not like you have the speaker there waiting and being like, turn the lights on. Like it's the moment, you have to read through that piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I could see how if somebody just goes haywire, how that could.
Yeah. So when we do those paper techs and those rehearsals, it really gets the client to hone in. And it's really interesting when you see them that they've never experienced something that before. And sometimes there's some resistance and like not really understanding the why that is.
Right.
But ultimately for us, that is a value add. That is a service differentiator that we have that sets us apart.
Right.
Like full stop.
Right. And knowing that.
Yeah.
Is awesome. All right. So let's talk about what mistakes do people commonly make when they're trying to turn networking into partnerships.
They sell like 19-year-old boys.
They
on
what?
The first date.
I love that answer.
Can't take credit for it. Do you know Gary Vaynerchuk? Gary V?
What company is he with?
VaynerMedia had was kind of one of the early pioneers of social media.
Okay, got it.
Who really took it from understanding what peer-to-peer networking really looked like, utilizing these tools, was kind of that first wave in the same kind of class of the Guy Kawasaki's, Gary V, Scott Monty from Ford. And so they were kind of like the early ones that there was this shift of going, social is just about connecting with one another. And then they started to reframe it as saying, like, really, we're talking about organizational change, really organizational change. And Gary's a personality. He's a big personality.
Yeah.
Took on his family liquor store business and like turned it into multi-million-dollar.
Wow.
Because he really understood peer-to-peer networking was bigger than individual connection. I've been on Facebook since 2009.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah.
Like that first wave of when it only was for college students with .edu email addresses. That was the only access. And then
we
when
had
it opened,
MySpaces.
yeah,
Yeah.
Tom from MySpace. Wonder what Tom's doing these days.
Wonder what Tom is doing these days.
And
I'm gonna Google that.
so we can joke about MySpace, but I will tell you,
Dude, it taught me how to code.
yes, yes.
I mean, I was in college. It taught me how to code.
Yeah. Like figuring out what HTML was and figuring out like basic CSS and all the things to make, like, you started with this white wall
Yes.
of all the pre-placed widgets. And I go, I want to make this mine. I want it to be to reflect who I am. And you started doing like the music embeds
and the backgrounds and
and like, you know, it didn't have to look like 90s GeoCity anymore.
Oh gosh, what a throwback.
Right?
That's so my first profile picture on my Facebook page is with my best friend at her bridal shower, which would have been in 2009.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so I think
that was back when you had to get a picture on a digital camera, plug it into your computer, and then upload it into your face.
So I was thinking about this yesterday, and I don't know why it popped into my brain, but I was driving home the other day, and I was like, I remember the days of Facebook when everybody was writing in the third person? Do you remember that?
Yes. Why did we do that?
I don't know.
I did that. Probably. Or like we would post our food all the time.
I mean, I still do that, but whatever.
But now you do it like in your story.
Yeah. I mean, it hits my feed every once in a while.
But it is very interesting how much it has changed.
Yeah.
And you don't ever post anything really now without a picture or video versus at the inception, it took a lot of effort.
Yeah.
To post a video or a picture. So it was much more text heavy.
Mm-hmm. And I remember I was working for a stock photography company at the time. And I remember working with a senior account manager who really started to see, hey, this social media thing has got some legs.
Yeah.
And with any wave of technology, there are the ones that are the early adopters. And then you see this like hockey stick growth, right? And that early phase, there's a lot of proving. They have to prove the worth. They have to prove the value of it. Like, here's why the thing. And I remember kind of same time frame at the same company. One of the VPs said, any book on relationship selling would be a page long.
Yeah.
And I remember fighting him on it.
And you were right.
And I remember fighting him on it. And this was very much...
Why did he think that?
Well, I think it was very much the mindset of to be a good, effective, high close rate salesperson. You had to ask good questions. You had to strategically place your product service value against what their pain points were. And there was this subtext of, it's never a no. It's just not a yes yet. And there was a moment in time when it worked.
And that moment is past.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking of that Will Smith movie where he's homeless.
Oh, I know what you mean.
And when he does the dialing thing and he became a better salesperson because he didn't hang up the phone in between each call. He kept the phone up and just dialed the next number. And and he figured out that gained him 20 more calls a day.
I'm sure you've seen Glengarry Glen Ross, right?
No.
What?
No.
So like the classic vision of like the sales boiler room.
No.
When it was just like dialing for dollars, right? Like it's just dialing for dollars all day long. It's the call center mentality.
Oh.
This is Alec Baldwin's character of always be closing. Always be closing.
I have to watch it now.
And there was part of that zeitgeist. It was part of the zeitgeist where like that kind of sales mantra really worked.
Yeah.
Until it didn't. And I can say, like, even to this day, I can trace some of my most profound business wins and my best professional connections come back from a tweet that started at 140 characters.
Wow.
And like following up a hashtag and part of like a regular like marketing chat, that would happen all of the time.
Yeah.
And how that led to some of the very best relationships that I've had in my entire career.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't speak like it's, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Like, I can point to actual social, like things that started on social media that we didn't know one each other face to face. That when we finally did, there was an immediate and instantaneous understanding.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
Do you have people on Facebook that you're friends with on Facebook that you've never met in real life?
Oh, absolutely. Because for a hot minute, I was Mary Kay famous.
Okay.
So
you can't just dangle that carrot and not tell that story. You cannot.
So in my office, there is a massive crown in a glass custom box that I earned the Queen of Sharing in 2018. And my entire family was on stage in front of like 10,000 people in Dallas, Texas.
That's amazing.
And I was on the throne and the whole...
That's wild.
The whole thing. So after that experience and that level of achievement, right, everybody followed me on Facebook. So, you know, I between 6,000 and 7,000 followers on Facebook. And largely... it's because for a hot minute, I was Mary Kay famous.
That's really incredible. That's really incredible.
So yeah, but no, I don't know those people.
Did we talk? Do you remember the like weird, like writing in the third person thing?
I do. Why did we do
that? Why did we do that?
I don't know. I literally want to go back now and like, one, I want to see where MySpace Tom is. And I also want to see what my first Facebook post was.
Yeah.
Like how ridiculous it probably
2009. I've been on Facebook for a really long time.
Now they have they're doing that, like the trend right now is that like 2016. And I thought the other day, and I was going to post it, and I was like, I don't even have the energy. But 2016 was one of the hardest years of my life. And so it was very interesting that they picked, like, that 2016 is like this trending thing right now.
That's 10 years back, so like it makes sense. But
I mean, it makes sense, but I was like, I don't like that. So I was very, very, very pregnant when, or not pregnant, I was pregnant. You can't be very pregnant. You either are or you aren't. But
that's like being a little bit pregnant.
Yes, I was very, very ill. So like I was on in-home healthcare, like an IV backpack had to go with me everywhere I went.
Yikes.
Like it was awful. So literally 2016, all I remember is being sick and puking until the very end. Then I had my beautiful daughter in November. So we'll chalk it up to November and December. They were great. The rest of it I spent in a bathroom.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So that was my 2016. But it's hard to believe that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, and I start to think of like how social has changed. You know, like there was also a moment in time where it was there like was no Facebook is personal and LinkedIn is professional.
Yes.
And I think that it seems I can't put a pin on like when that trend or when it like got a little muddier. But I think people move from between different platforms for a whole host of reasons, right? We could talk about data collection. We could talk about the ads. We could talk about the increasing toxic nature of the online space, the bots, just all of it. We could talk about all of this, right? And all things are valid and recognizable. And it's really interesting to note this shift from how LinkedIn has shifted. Where it's not just about I have to post in the groups and I have to do I have to do it like I'm running through my checklist of like exposure for my brand and to recognize or establish myself as a thought leader and all of those things, and it just feels gross. It just feels gross. And I can say too that LinkedIn has become this space where the personal professional starts to blend a little bit more, which I really like.
I do too.
I really
I feel like LinkedIn is like a grown-up Facebook.
Yeah.
And it has more real people doing real things and celebrating. It's not like a negative place.
No, I think people are probably a little bit more cognizant of like what the impact of those statements are, right? Like that it was established as a professional social platform.
Yes.
And, you know, you try things that it works, it doesn't work, you know, all the rest.
I will be very interested to see what our conversation will be in even 2 years about social media.
Yeah.
I feel that a very large shift is coming.
It's grown up. It's matured.
Yeah.
It's matured.
And that will be interesting to look into.
Well, when those platforms first started to hit the scene, there was this, shall we say, unbridled enthusiasm for that it was really going to transform the way that communications was done. It was really, and it did, right?
Yeah.
I don't mean to diminish that, because it certainly did. However, there was the early years when it was starting to come into its own, when communicators started to think of social as its own unique thing and not recognizing it as a channel. And so if you are placing your entire business success on being visible and answering reviews and you know, and think even like how blogging has changed. You know, that there was a time there were blogs that were very much about SEO.
Yes.
That and that's valid, right? Like that's valid. Or thought leadership and again, also very valid. But they're the ones that I think of during that time that were really focused on building community that have withstood the seismic shift. You know, to be a gathering place for, and not just on a social level, like where professionals can come together. I think of my friend Ginny Dietrich in Chicago.
Yeah.
So her online community is called Spin Socks.
Okay.
It's really transforming like what it means to be a PR professional in the communications, kind of getting more a seat at the table and not thinking that it's just a commodity for the way the business needs to operate. And that became the space where marketers, advertisers, creative directors, PR people, you name it, got into conversation on blog posts to really like pick through the challenges that they were facing.
Right.
And then that grew into a professional community where she now has thousands of subscribers that like understand that there is a curriculum. And then there's like a mastermind accountability group saying, here's this thing, I'm working on it. I can't figure this out. The internet made things very small.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
made things very small.
The whole internet. We could do a whole episode on the evolution of social media and community.
I'm all about it. I geek out when I start talking about it.
I mean, I geek out. I'm probably laughing. I love talking about everything from like the good old days, right? Like the 90s. And I like to make fun of my younger staff members who weren't born yet. And, you know, but then they try to come back at me and like say things that their generation thinks are cool. And I don't know what they are. And I'm like, no, it's like a one way.
So my,
I'm the only one saying things that I don't, that you know what they are. Ask them what a Rolodex is. It's really funny.
Well, so they're soon to be 17 and 15.
Okay.
And they truly don't understand a world without the internet.
No, they don't.
It's really fascinating.
My son is 15 and he would have been born in 2010.
Yeah. And to think that there's an entire generation of consumers, professional, whatever wherever they are in life, who haven't experienced a non-connected digital world.
I know. I told my son one time, I was like, you know, once upon a time, we were on a country road and my dad ran out of gas. And he was like, what did you do? You know, and I was like, we literally sat in the car while my dad walked to a payphone to call somebody to bring us gas.
You want to have, here's a fun game. Think of classic 80s movies.
Okay.
And think how much the plot would have changed if a cell phone was available.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's so true. That's why movies were so much better then.
Right?
Because now you'd be like why don't you just call somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to think like the entire plot
yes.
of really well-known films. Like, can you imagine the Babysitter's Club?
No.
With cell
phones? No. It would just be kids talking on the phone. Well, they don't even talk on the phone anymore.
I know.
They just text. All right. Well, let's finish our subject. We should do that. We should do a throwback episode.
I'm all about it.
I mean, it is my favorite topic.
That should be a fun panel.
It should be a panel, and we should also bring in some poor 12-year-old person
that just cringe reacts to everything that we say.
Yes, and literally be like, what are yellow pages? And they'll be like, construction paper, and you're like, no, that's not, none of that is right. How do you roll down a window?
AOL CD-ROMs with 700 hours of free access.
I do this to my son all the time. He gets so mad at me. I will ask his friends, I'm like, what does the internet sound like? And they look at me like I have 10 heads. And I'm like, it made a noise. And he's always like, Mom, stop. And then I'll be like, what's a Rolodex? And he's like, we're not going through the whole thing. Like, stop. They don't know. All right. So what advice would you give to someone ready to move from a community mindset to an intentional collaboration in 2026?
Find your people.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. That is one of the things that I have loved about getting into the networking community, is just finding this group of driven, motivated professionals that that think like I think and think differently.
Yeah.
And challenge me. I've loved that. Yeah.
And I think especially at the level of community engagement, volunteering, right?
Yeah. Everybody should volunteer.
Yes.
I should say to them, everyone should volunteer.
Yes.
My husband is a volunteer deputy fire chief, but
I did not know that.
There you go. Fun fact. So, but volunteerism, and we work with a lot of fire departments, and the need is great, and you find so much fulfillment from volunteering, and as a country, we need to do that more.
Yeah, and part of it is I think for me personally, why being involved in community organizations is so critically important. One, it's where you can see change happening.
Yeah.
I think when we look at what is happening in the world, right, and it can feel so big and so overwhelming that when you start to bring your focus into your local community, that's where you start to see it really impacts.
Right.
And of course that that looks differently for everybody.
Absolutely.
Right? Not everybody has the stomach to be in protests. Not everybody has the bandwidth to serve on 3 different boards.
Right.
And I'm gonna date myself a little bit here.
All right, here we go.
So one of my mentors early on, who's sadly no longer with us, who was very involved in community organizing. And he said, as a Gen Xer, which I am, there's something about the Gen X ethos that didn't want to serve on boards. We weren't into it.
Why?
I think because we were less concerned about the social capital of saying that I serve on this board of directors, or I'm on this advisory, or I'm on this thing. And that as a generation, we were much more interested in getting work done. So organizations that got that and leveraged Gen Xers in a way that said it's a very project driven thing. We'll roll our sleeves up. We'll do the thing.
Yep.
We're not really necessarily interested in getting our name on a building, or some real big public recognition. We want to make change in a meaningful way. I want to do something. I want to make it feel like the work that I'm doing is making an impact.
And making an impact.
And so, dangling the board position as a way to convince somebody didn't really resonate.
No, it was, why am I doing this?
I want to see how does my time impact, and what are the shifts that I'm making possible because I'm spending my time and my energy here.
Yeah. See, look at that. That was great advice.
It's good stuff.
It's good stuff. Well, Jason, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
For being on the podcast today. Really fun. We got a little bit of our topic done, and I love that when we go a little off script, which is great, which is why this is just an outline, that you get to really fun, meaningful conversations.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. All right, we'll see you next week.
See y'all.